Boom! Coming to you not live. Funny but foul with the homeboy Hector Rodriguez. And yours truly. My name is Chagabashlo. What's up, dude?
Nothing more. One more week, man. Another week.
Another week.
Still here?
Still here. You know, cracking skulls, taking numbers. Man.
Something like that, man. Fucking, how's your week been? What you been up to? What you fucking doing?
Fuck all, man. Last night was a sham.
What was last night?
Last night was a fucking sham and a half, man. Biggest cocksucker that guy, man.
Really?
Fuck. I mean, like, listen.
Well, what happened?
Listen, I don't want to go into too many details, but some caught my eye, and I try to chase it, and then I end up that well. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yeah, it's actually pretty fucking embarrassing how that went down.
Well, what the fuck happened?
Well, you know, some girls, they just, you kind of get nervous around them. I'm not very comfortable with that because usually I'm pretty.
It's like a good-looking girl, though. Like
incredibly
special.
good-looking. Like just a type of girl where, you know, when I told you, like, in your life, top 10, top 15 girls you've ever seen in your life.
Shit.
Like I have preferences for chicks.
Oh, I mean, everyone does.
This girl changed those preferences.
Really?
So just
she's a world beater.
So just see what that means, right?
Yeah.
So she changes your preferences, and then, you know, there's something else there. But I don't know, man. It's some crazy shit. It's not something I'm comfortable with. It's actually something. It's a vulnerable situation. Now I feel like, you know, like kids in school where they're super academic and they're not socially very good with anything. So I felt like that. I felt like that. I felt very socially awkward. Even when I passed her, I don't know what to say. Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I barely know you. I've seen you maybe 20 times.
Versus other chicks, it's no problem at all.
No problem, because there's no you don't care about the outcome.
Yeah.
As much.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Not as much invested.
Not only that, you just don't care what happens. If something happens, something good happens, great. If something bad happens, well, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Know? This one, it's kind of oh.
So what happened last night? Was it a party you're going to, or
Yeah. That's why I don't want to get into the specifics. But yeah, so it was just a fail, man. It was like that. If there was those compilations of failures,
it would have been there.
I would have been on
cringe
that.
compilations.
I would have been on that. I'd be the last one, the number one after a top 50 fail compilation. Dude, I got dressed to the gills. I shaved my hair.
Really?
Shaved my chest. Shaved my balls.
Fuck, you shaved your balls?
Dog, I shaved my balls and fucking waxed fucking
your nipples.
No. Those come pre-waxed out of birth, son. No, I waxed my my cheeks, bro, just in case she wants to. You
waxed your cheeks?
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Wax the cheeks just in case she wants to, give me a cup.
What's involved in that?
Waxing the cheeks?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta.
This is after shave? After you shave, you do this, or what's the deal?
No. So what you want to do is you actually want to work out before this.
Okay.
Right? So
open up your pores. I'm guessing.
Anytime you want to wax, you want to work out before.
Okay.
Then you want to have some type of oil on you, right? So it doesn't fuck with you. Like sometimes they put powder.
Okay.
Sometimes they put oil. I like the oil because the powder, it still sticks to the powder and still fucking rips your skin off.
Ew.
Right. So with men, the most every dude has asshole hair.
Yep.
Generally.
Yep.
You'd be a fucking exception if you don't.
And even guys who aren't who are hairless will have ass hair.
Yeah. Because it's one of those spots that just grows.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's just like the fucking Asians, man. They got full set of hair, no body hair, and then boom, fat ass bush, son. What's good?
The bush is good.
The bush is good, I guess,
right.
But not that good because George Bush had terrible fucking approval ratings. But yeah, anyway, so it's called the balls and butt when you go to these Vietnamese places.
The Vietnamese?
Vietnamese. It's called balls and butt.
Balls and butt. How much is that?
I think it runs for 65 bones.
Fuck. So, because you said cheeks, so you were talking ass cheeks the whole time.
I was talking cheeks. Yeah.
Shit.
Cheeks. You're talking about face. You're like,
yeah,
you shave your face. And
yeah,
then
I'm like, what's involved?
Nah, bro,
that makes no sense. About?
What are you talking about? No, man, it's the cheeks, bro.
So you had your gooch waxed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My farts sound different.
Probably feel different too.
They not only do they sound like a air cooled Porsche 911, but these cheeks, like, bro, I I slept like I've never slept in my life.
How many times? How often do you do this?
Cheeks?
Yeah.
Special occasion only.
Special occasion only.
Special occasion. Because you know what, man, I'm a hairy dude. I'm not that hairy. Like I got cousins and stuff. I know some people that are way
Sure,
hairier than
sure.
me. I got the proper hair in the proper places.
Okay.
All right, but then again, when you compare yourself with some white boy or some Asian kid,
Yeah.
you got more hair, son. So you got to take care of it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's more
that makes sense.
responsibility. As far as responsibilities, man, did you watch the fights?
Fuck yeah, man! I know where my responsibilities. I didn't want. Okay, hold on. I started watching. I caught the end of the was it Israel Islam
Makhachev.
yeah Makhachev, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I caught the end of that fight.
Yeah. So
That's
Islam.
where
I
started watching.
like that fight for him, man. Islam looked good. That other kid was thick. He was thick. He was maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big kid. Like he was they're fighting at 155.
55, I think it is. Yeah.
But Islam, I mean, he looked athletic, but that kid looked thick. He was probably 2 or 3 inches shorter than Islam, but he was packing.
Did you catch the
fucking
undercard at all?
I saw some of it. I saw some highlights.
I didn't realize that Cruz was on the undercard.
Yeah, so
Why did they put him on the undercard?
when you have a losing streak like that, they put you on the
It's
undercard.
just 2 though.
Yeah, well, 3 is you're out, right?
Well, depends on the fighter. I mean,
No,
BJ
no.
Penn had like fucking
Yeah,
5.
but BJ Penn also went up like 15 weight classes and fought Lyoto Machida when he was a
not,
light.
not in the UFC though.
Doesn't matter though. Even worse, because
I mean,
I don't think BJ Penn never had the physique that looked like he cheated. He was never like impressive as far as physique wise. So I don't really think he really cheated.
but that doesn't mean much because there's guys with shitty physiques who've cheated.
Give me 5.
I can give you one off the top of my head. There's that blonde heavyweight guy, Barnett, Josh Barnett. He popped, and he was
He didn't
not
pop
impressive.
for roids. He popped for what's it called? EPO.
I think it was roids, bro.
Because he was going on.
Because this was early too.
They were going on those hyperbaric chambers and shit, and he was trying to up his red blood cells. Because listen, what light guys lack is power.
Mm-hmm.
What heavy guys lack is cardio. It's hard.
It's true, but these guys sometimes want to maximize that. Like
believe-
Dillashaw
yeah,
popped
yeah,
for
yeah,
EPOs
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's already
yeah,
a cardio
yeah,
monster.
yeah,
He wants
yeah,
more,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
no, I believe it. Regardless, but yeah, it was a good fight.
I'm just surprised Cruz on the undercard because I know what you're saying. Yeah, 3 year out, but normally with like legends or guys who've done really well, they'll give like more slack. Like, all right,
Well, this is the slack he's getting, right?
I guess.
Isn't he a commentator too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe
so
that's
there
why.
you go.
I guess maybe they wanted to. I
But
was
he
just
looked
surprised.
terrible. He looked terrible against Triple
Yeah,
C.
because I didn't. Oh yeah, no,
He
no,
looked
100%.
terrible.
Triple C's also like a new monster.
He is, but I just think Cruz is too old, man.
Cruz is not only
Late
old, but
30s.
he's been through a lot of shit. Like he's got half of a knee in both knees.
And he's not fully in. Like once you start doing commentating
True.
and stuff,
Yeah, no,
you,
definitely.
you really can't be. If you're trying to be retrospective, that champion mentality is fucking deafening. You know, you
I
can't
don't-
have that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he. I don't think he's in this to win a championship anymore. I think I think he's probably in this just maybe to prove a few things to himself. Like I can still hang with the boys or fuck who knows.
Prove or just some guys just love to fight, man. I love to fight. I love to fucking fight.
True.
Like, you know, my mom back in the day, she was like, man, why do you always get yourself frustrated
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fight with people and shit? I'm like, because I love it. Like, the way you love, like, you know, getting together with a family
Yeah.
and, like, you know, spending time with your, like, friends and shit.
Yeah.
I like to fight. Like, you know,
Mhm.
one of the reasons I did some bouncing was not because I needed the money.
To get in
Was
fights.
was so I could literally just knock people out. And it was because I wanted it to not have any bad karma of knocking them out. You know what I mean?
That-
I don't want to start fights. I just wanted a fight to happen. I had to break it up or
That
something.
reminds me of like these nut jobs who will like join the army because they want to feel
Absolutely.
what it's like to kill somebody.
Listen, there's a part of me that's fucking redneck. I
Yeah.
know it, but I'm just not the same pigmentation as those guys. But there's certain things I agree with them, you know. But anyway, moving on. Israel lost. I believe in that. He didn't look good. He has no ground game. Super slacking. that's what happens when you get really cocky about it, man. And like, he's not big enough. He is not big enough.
I respect him for trying it out. Although I think
he needs to shut the fuck up now, because he's never gonna touch Jones. He's never gonna touch
True.
Jones.
Yeah.
That's out of the picture.
Yeah.
That's just
unfortunately, that like he can still. I think he still got a good chance because he is a.
He was too cocky.
He's a whatever, man. Cocky guys all the time in the UFC. I don't care about that.
Yeah, but look what happened to every single one of them.
Yeah, but like everyone loses, except for Khabib.
Jones. Khabib.
Yeah, Jones arguably lost against Reyes.
Floyd. No, he didn't.
I believe he
I
lost
watched.
Reyes.
Listen, I went with Emil.
Mhm.
Okay, and we watched that, and we thought he lost, right?
Yeah.
Then I saw the strikes landed.
Sure.
Then I saw the fight again.
Yeah.
Fourth, fifth round.
Mhm.
If you win fourth, fifth round, you're champion.
Yeah.
You won.
True. No.
You could lose 1-3. If you win 4-5,
the bias is
you're
always
winning.
towards but I personally thought that Jones just didn't look good in that fight. He's just it's
No,
either,
he didn't look
it's
good.
either he's already on his way out in terms of like he's past his prime because these guys have a limited prime and Jones has been in the game for a very long time.
So long.
He got in the UFC at like the age of 19, 18.
Super long.
He
yeah.
was champ at what 21, 22, 23.
So
like
long,
he's
yeah.
right. So these guys have a limited peak and when guys are like, oh, but Yoel Romero has not been fighting the UFC since he was fucking 19 years old.
Yeah, but he also
his MMA fight mileage is about the same as Jones. It's just he's hitting it later. He started at 33 or whatever, and now he's fine 40. But Jones, at some point, will start declining, and I think
How old is Jones right now?
33.
Okay, so Jones, I mean, I could see him fight another 7.
Not at his prime though.
Not at his
That's what I'm
prime,
saying,
but
yeah.
I mean, neither was Yoel.
Neither was
We got you. We don't even know what.
That's
Yoel's,
what I'm saying. I don't think
we
we
even
got
know
his
what
prime.
Yoel's
Never
prime
got it.
was.
Which is a
Because
tragedy.
If he came, well, that's what Rogan
Yeah.
was saying. If he came in at like 19 and
Or-
we built him up,
Or even like 25, man. Even mid-20s. Give him his Olympic shit, right?
yeah,
Give it to him.
yeah, okay. 25, you're
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
right? So that's when Khabib kind of came in.
Imagine not fighting with a fused neck.
Well, I think that helped him. If you look at some of the
It
the
does.
head kicks,
True.
it definitely helps
Yeah,
him.
true. In some ways it does, and in some ways it doesn't.
He doesn't
But-
have the same stability for the rotational
Yeah.
force for wrestling. Makhachev looked great. He's not the next Khabib. He's
True.
not as dominant.
I don't think you can get another next. There's only gonna be one Khabib. You can't-
Khabib just has its dimensions of the body, skill, knowledge, father,
There's a
life
lot of things,
experiences.
so many
it's not
things.
just the fucking training. It's so many other things.
And a lot of things too is also timing when you get into the UFC,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
So
people haven't seen that shit yet.
there-
and then you're
and
nuance.
there's guys who've been so good that have gotten into the game at just the wrong time. Guys like John Fitch, really good fighters, but unfortunately you just lived in a time where fucking GSP exists.
No,
So you-
so you go under the umbrella.
Exactly. So
But yeah, I think that was good.
what Amor Piotr?
Jan?
Fuck, man.
So
What-
Khabib said his corner, there was a misunderstanding with his corner. He was destroyed. I mean, that Ajax guy looked good in the beginning, but his gas is
That was interesting because
almost went out.
visually I had Yan winning, and then when the
Oh,
fight was
yeah.
over, they're like, okay, 2 judges scored it for Sterling. And then when you look at the strikes landed, Sterling actually had it as well. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but
So I'd like to watch that again, but I personally had Yan winning at that point.
when
Not
did they
only
stop,
that,
when
but
did
the momentum as well.
when did they stop the fight?
3rd round
Okay, so he took over. Jan took over.
or 4th, 3rd or 4th.
No, it was 3rd round. Jan took over mid-second round, and he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
he was dominant into the 4th round,
Mhm.
or so 3rd round.
So I guess it's depending how you scored that 2nd round, because some guys, even if
If
Yan
you-
started dominating, they would still consider that 2nd round for Sterling.
Okay, fine.
Some judges, right?
Fine,
they do it?
fine. Let's do it
Yeah.
like that. But let's be honest with the judging. They have no idea what they're doing. None of those judges roll. None of those judges do Muay Thai. How the fuck do they know how to judge?
So man, don't you trust Saul D'Amato? Come on.
No, I don't.
Come on, man. She owns a house in Greenwich. She knows what she's doing.
These bitches, man, they need to, like, it's not just them, though. It's like there's some dudes that just judge it terrible.
It's
40
been like that always in every combat sport. It's
Listen.
crazy.
Even the Israel fight, 49-45. How the fuck did you come up with that?
That means, and I was doing the math, they gave Jan a 10-8 round, a 10-9, 10-9, and a 9-10, which is fucked. Where was the
How do
10-8?
you- Where was that? I don't understand. Like,
Probably
you're-
the 4th is what they're giving him.
Yeah, but still.
But
that's-
I don't agree with that, though, because
crazy.
that for me to give a 10-8, you got to do a Khabib round on the ground. Like you gotta look that person look bad.
Blachowicz looked good, but Blachowicz damage was not crazy.
And I think that was a strategy because he knew he wasn't gonna like throw bombs. I think he actually executed a strategy exactly how he thought he was gonna do it. Stand with this guy for a bit, maybe make him a bit cocky, and then eventually, if he really feels like it, just fuck him up on the ground, which is what he did at the end.
And we saw what power is, right? Like you got a guy who, I mean, I roll with guys that are like 250. There's a big difference with us, right?
Yeah.
Like I have to really use everything I got, and after we roll like 3 rounds, I'm drained, and that guy's still going because it's just the weight ratio is insane.
The other thing too is just skill gap, man. Because there are guys who roll at a lighter weight class that will kill
for sure. But Blachowicz, let's be honest, he went to half guard.
Yeah.
Right. And he couldn't mount.
He did at the end.
No, he didn't fully mount him.
At the end, he did.
Did he?
At the very, very end of the 5th round.
He should have mounted him.
He had a full
or
mount.
been at half mount. Probably the whole fight. He went to side control.
Yeah,
and
I saw that was a mistake.
Why did
that
you
was
go
a
to
mistake.
side control? Because he had to have his hand.
That was a mistake
between his legs to control him anyway.
That was a mistake. Yeah, it just limited his motion.
Yeah,
that was dumb. But I mean, you saw that was like one mistake next to like the 10 that fucking Izzy made on the ground too.
Listen,
So-
all he had to
right,
do,
so-
Blachowicz. Let me clear something up with the little information I know from fucking life. Blachowicz should have.
Ooh.
Hey, stop it. Stop. Blachowicz should have. He's right-handed, so he should have triangle locked Israel's left leg and elbowed him from his right hand to the right side of his face.
Yeah.
That'd be the best. You get 5 or 6. Israel doesn't take punches that well for a guy who's K1. You want to let her out?
Yeah.
And I just think, Israel was lost at a certain point, man. Like, he was truly lost. You can't be a champion like that. Go. Who's that? Go see who he is. All right, lock that up, please. Israel, I mean, this is what happens when you're so cocky, man. Like, you got to be able to, he was looking past Blachowicz, and he was talking shit about Jones. Now, Jones is not touchable.
Yeah, I won't be able to sniff at him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Unless, I mean, nothing's ever over in the UFC. I mean, if he were to come back to light heavyweight and start, impressing him, start knocking some guys out,
it's not the same. It's not the same flash. Because now we know how strong he is. Because Blachowicz wouldn't last 5 minutes with fucking Jones.
Yeah, true.
And
well, maybe now he would actually.
He probably wouldn't.
I wonder what
he's
Jones.
So much slower. He's so much. Listen, Jones is probably 3/4 to 5/6 the speed of Israel, and he's actually a true 230.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So that and he has a ground game.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
And not even the ground game. Amazing takedown defense. That alone, because the whole thing of Blachowicz is like, best percentage for takedown, like completions.
Did you hear what they said?
Which part?
There was I don't want to drop no names, but there was a famous retired UFC fighter that tweeted, the slow ass wipe was beating the shit out of this Nigerian.
I did not see that.
This looks like slavery all over again.
What I saw was a bad take by our boy Rogan when he was talking to when he was interviewing Blachowicz later, and he's like,
yeah, you used to be
middleweight.
You used to be a middleweight. He's like, no, I've always been 92 kilos
literally
and
my whole life.
higher, yeah. And Rogan's like, oh, my bad.
Fuck, man.
I haven't seen, like, in the past I've seen Rogan fuck up, but I haven't seen him rock up too much.
Yeah.
But that took away, that showed how much he's still,
invested in this.
Yeah, he still needs to, show.
I think he's just out. Same way as like Cruz is now, out of fighting and he's in. I think same deal for Rogan. He's just got other shit now.
With it's hard to be a champion or be a contender or just be a fighter and not pay attention to social media. I mean, even as much as they're praised for how good they are, they get hated for their losses. Right?
Oh, always.
There's all these people that are like really, everybody's different, right? Sensitivity wise, we have some friends that are more sensitive than others.
Of course.
And then you have guys like me, or even worse than me, that are like fucking Fedor, fucking Emelianenko, like fucking no emotions. and you know, it's different. It just depends on how you grow up. It's like me, you know now I haven't had social media in 2 years.
Really?
Know,
like at all?
Like at all.
That's good.
Like at all, because I once I came out, I kind of just tested the waters a little bit. Kind of saw what it is, but then I saw how toxic it is, man.
Listen, social media is fucking wild, and something that I've noticed lately, because I've been getting into video editing lately. So I've been taking on some just a couple of projects here and there. It's paid, but it's just small stuff still. But I've been trying to learn as much as I can in the amount of time that I have, because that's just how I do things. So I'll try and consume information. But one thing that I've noticed it before, but I especially noticed it now. When you get into something now, you will get fucking bombarded everywhere. And I'll give you an example. So I started getting into video editing. So that will entail things like I'm looking at new cameras, potentially looking at video software, editing, photography, videography, that kind of stuff. Holy shit. Every single feed of my life now, I'm getting hit with recommendations. So if I open up Instagram, I'm going through my friends' stories. When there's like an ad in between the stories, it'll be an ad for like a camera at a fucking store. Or it'll be some ad from some fucking photographer or videographer on YouTube selling his fucking like photography classes or his like custom filters.
Oh, from celebrities to no-name people. Everybody trying to sell.
It is so directed that it's fucking insane, because it'll be there, and then in YouTube, I'll watch one video, and then the next 30 recommended are about the same thing. Yeah. And it's insane. Facebook, everywhere. They're all connected, right? So this algorithm that they have about trying to recommend you the shit that's going to keep you engaged the most is fucking nuts. And sometimes when they do it well and they're subtle about it, you don't even notice it, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm just watching more of these videos. But it's been so bad this last week that I've noticed it, where I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? This is insane.
Yeah, it's it kind of goes against our freedoms, but
like the basic idea is fine, right? Because they're like, okay, if this guy's interested in fucking
it's not though
painting, no, it is, because it's the same way. Like if you're
deeper than that.
Okay, fine. I mean, we can go there, but the basic premise, I'm okay with, because if I go to a store that I'm going to keep going to, because that's something that Facebook is, you keep going back, right? So if I'm going to a bookstore and the lady who works there knows me, if I buy a book about, fucking woodworking, if I come back next week, she'll be like, hey, Hector, I noticed that last week are you interested? I have some other books if you might be interested in, because related to what you're doing, because she's trying to know me so she can sell more to me or whatever, catering to my needs. So fine, fair enough. But the difference is that she's doing out of a good place, whether she cares about me or whether she's just trying to like make a bit more money. But it's like whatever. But the way that social media does it is fucked, because it's as if this lady now is getting her friends to like stop me on the street and be like, hey, do you want to join a woodworking class? Hey, do you want to buy these tools? Like, it's from everywhere. That's the equivalent, because in social media, you're getting it from every single place. Because the more they can keep you engaged, the more money they make off of you as a product, really. Because you're not a person. You're a fucking you're just an asset, really. It's part of their business. So the more they can keep their people engaged, the better it is for them. But it's been too obvious this week for me, where I'm just like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, man. The thing with the lady, my argument against that is you can just fuck off, right? You can just fuck off or tell the bitch, suck my dick, stop talking.
Oh, yeah, sure.
With this shit, they track your IP, they link it to
your
your
everything.
account.
Everything, man.
Because it's your IP, they can go on different entities and do the same fucking thing. So, like, there's companies that own multiple entities. For example, like Instagram is owned by somebody else, and then Twitter is owned by a certain person, and then they own something else. And Dockers, Facebook, all this, they're all interlinked in certain ways. Now, they're all trying to compete each other. So the good thing is that they're not all in the same platform. However, these platforms are linked through the IPs that they get off you. So let's say, there's been times where I've talked, to my buddies about certain cars. Yeah. I'll go on Google and fucking see the car ad. Yeah. That same car ad.
Have you heard of Cambridge Analytica?
I've heard about this.
Did you hear about that when they I forget what the term is, like when they scour, when they like there's like a term for scraping. When they're scraping data for. So the first instance that I heard of this being used on like a very broad public sense was Brexit.
Right. Yeah. Brexit. That's right. Brexit. Yeah.
So during Brexit, when they were doing the campaign to see if they were going to say yes or no Brexit, because there was two campaigning, whatever. The people that were no Brexit played it by the book, which is a huge fucking mistake because they just got fucked. Because they're like, all we have to do, they basically organize their campaign like you would any traditional campaign. Like, this is our platform, this is our message, how we're going to reach our people, we're going to send flyers, all this bullshit.
Right.
Way behind the times. Way behind the times. The Yes Brexit people had a couple of key people in their campaign that were forward thinking in kind of a bad way, because they're like, these fucking people are old. They're still doing like PowerPoint slides. Fuck them. We got a better way of doing this. Let's fucking use social media as a tool for us. It's not just for fucking kids. We can use this to literally control people. So they're like, how best do we do this? So they started doing like your traditional, ad campaigns on Facebook. But then they had the idea of connecting with companies that could scrape your data to get more targeted information.
Targeted ads.
Holy shit. Like there was a documentary I saw about this, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's not like they had your name, like because there's just too many people for that to happen.
It's an IP, bro.
Where it's like your name or whatever, but they would have the IPs arranged in a way so it's like, this group
Who's
of people.
Interested in what?
Yeah, this group of people. It is more by
categorical.
Like exactly by like demographics. So like these aged people living here, doing this, will do this. When you look at it from the broad sense, you're like, oh, it's not that bad. But then when you think about it, you're like, sure, my name's not associated with this. Or like no one's looking that it's me, myself. But the fact that they're pulling this kind of information to then use it for themselves is kind of fucked in a big way.
Not only that, but also it's like, these companies, let's say they have some type of, moralities that they follow. What if I'm a hacker and I get your information? Then I know where you are. Then I know what kind of IP you have. Then I know what kind of Visa cards. Some people save their Visa cards online to their IP.
Yeah.
So, right. So I know all that. Right. So I know.
And not only that, but like right now, that entire industry has no regulations. There's no FCC. There's no. As no people FDA. People are like, oh, the FTC is corrupt. Okay, fine. Some of these organizations are all corrupt. At least they exist.
Yeah. There's something to sue.
Something. Yeah. There is literally nothing.
Nothing.
For any of these social media companies that exist, there is no regulation right now in place. And have you watched this movie called The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
I've seen
clips of it,
trailers and stuff.
I would recommend watching it. It is kind of corny in some parts where you're like, it is kind of like stupid. But the shit that we're talking about, they talk about, and they actually mention like examples and stuff. And they have people who are like ex-Facebook employees, ex-Google employees, and they're like shit talking this because they're like, I just got sick and tired of working at these companies because of the shitty morals that they have.
Right.
A fucked part about that I learned is, so right now they have no regulations, but they're actually getting the same tech people who are, doing all these fucked up things. They're getting those same people to write the regulations.
Damn.
So they're like, all right, bro, I know you've been running Facebook for the last 10 years. How would you like to regulate yourself and your friends? How fucked is that?
It's people are getting paid, man, and it really goes back to that, right? As long as
there's real money in there now.
Yeah,
like real money.
Yep. Facebook, I mean,
talking
Twitter,
billions.
Instagram, there's billions. So if government's getting funded, they just see numbers and they just say, okay, fine.
Definitely.
I mean, it's not the first time, right? I mean, I got family in the States that, not family, but family friends in the States that tell me that they get extra, shit on them when they try to cross the border, try to cross back, even though they're fucking American citizens.
Yeah.
So they get more than like people that are like, not like that, right?
But and my problem now it's a dilemma for myself because I actually really enjoy some forms of social media like YouTube. I love YouTube because I've learned so much watching these videos. Like there's so much knowledge there.
Some may argue that that's not real social media though. Some may argue that that's just like a news source. Right? Because
unfortunately though, they're owned by social media companies.
For sure, but
which is a problem. So it's not like
if you have an IP that's linked to like a account, for example, like a Facebook or a Twitter and stuff like that, you can really get in trouble once if you're in like show business or something like that. You can really get in trouble.
100%.
Whereas YouTube, you really can't. What are you gonna get in trouble for? A comment on YouTube? Who gives a fuck?
Well, yeah, actually, a lot of these guys got influenced. Remember Logan Paul?
Yeah, but look at Logan Paul now, right?
No, I know now, but same anywhere. Like, if these guys get in trouble, they'll come back. They'll bounce back from it, but you still
They
can't.
will bounce back, but what I'm saying is like, how many people do we know that got? If you just do a 1-on-1 ratio to how many people have fucking comments,
Yeah.
like YouTube comments,
Yeah.
versus like tweets,
Mm-hmm.
it's tweets are deadlier.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Obviously, you can get in trouble with anything, but what I'm saying is it's just deadlier. And the aspect that I don't have a choice, that scared me the most, because once I got into to studying software, you kind of go through the analytics and see like, hey, what are they keeping track of? What are they seeing? What do they know? And like, that's why getting a VPN is fucking kind of crucial. But you're still gonna get the ads, but at least you can kind of tell the fucking bookstore, managers to shut the fuck up. I don't want to talk to you. This certain thing. But again, man, I think it's eventually things are gonna balance itself out. That's why revolutions happen. That's why all these different things happen.
And I hope it does, because like they really are great tools, and they are great things behind them. Like, but there's just so many issues with them that at times it's a bit troubling for sure.
And just the pure numbers, like, what does 1 million look like? What does 1 million people? What do 10 million people look like? You have no.
We don't have the mental capacity for that as humans.
You just have no retrospect of what it looks like. Like even today, do you know what $1 million looks like in bills? I certainly don't.
No.
And just to clarify,
I know 10 G's. That's all.
Yeah, clarify. They say 4 out of 10 people are on social media on the streets. So if you're walking by the streets, there's 4 out of you count 10
like
people
actively
are on social media, right?
I believe that.
So 4 out of 10, you might not think that's a high number, but you go worldwide with that.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of fucking people,
100%.
right? Eight. There's close to 8 billion people right now. 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
We're talking, 3 out of 8.
Yeah.
2.5 out of 8. So you're telling me 2.5 billion people are online? Are you fucking joking me? Now, given there's going to be different social media, right?
Yeah.
There's Amazon here. There's Alibaba in Asia.
Sure.
Yeah. But still,
but it's the idea.
It's the idea of ads. So there's all these like hot ass girls I know that I've dated, I've just been friends with, heard of, and they're all going to marketing. And I'm like, why are you going to marketing, man? You're smart enough. You can go to fucking law school. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Money's in there, though.
Why do you want to go marketing? Oh well, I am good looking, and like I'll get the raises, and if I have to suck a dick or two, who cares?
Sure.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you're being a whore for doing that. That's actually smart. But the fact that there's the avenue there, that's the scary part. Because if we ever raise daughters,
fuck,
and they go to the workplace and like some guy named fucking whatever the fuck is their boss, and he's a fucking perv.
Yeah.
Then he calls the shots, and they have to kind of either go with it or go against it. But if they want to get a raise, if they want to do anything, they kind of have to go with it, right? Fuck. So it's like, it's dark, bro. It gets dark. It gets dark quick, but that's just human nature, I think. It gets dark really quick. And speaking of dark, man, when you were a kid, what'd you think about hibernation?
Hibernation?
Yeah.
Isn't that just when fucking animals go to sleep for like half the year? Little fucking
fake news, dog.
Bernstein Bear just goes to sleep in the woods.
Fake news, dog.
Yogi the Bear. What is Yogi the Bear?
Yogi the Bear.
Yogi the Bear. Yeah, he just goes to sleep.
Yogi the Bear, man. He just goes to sleep.
Fake news?
Fake news.
What
dog.
fake news?
Fake news, dog.
Fuck
this
you,
shit
fake news.
Is bullshit. Because think about it. You think a bear, how can a bear survive 6 months going to sleep, 4 months going to sleep, 2 months going to sleep?
He goes into like stasis or some shit, man. I don't know.
Homeostasis?
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes in a hyperbaric chamber, man.
Yeah, okay.
He's in a float chamber with Rogan, man.
Yeah,
for
okay.
6 months.
Okay, Khabib's right beside him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So apparently, all that happens during hibernation is, I grew up thinking this. I'm sure you did too.
I still think that. Legit. I don't.
Yeah.
That's what I have in mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up that they taught us this. It kind of goes back to like, I don't want to turn Eddie Bravo into this, but it kind of like, if they taught me that, they told me some lie over some stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
What did they tell me that like actually matters? That's a lie.
Well, I think, okay, hold on. So what's the actual truth?
The actual truth is they just, let's say, I'll give you an example, and it might not be these exact numbers.
Sure, no.
Okay?
Don't use, you don't have to use numbers, but like,
let's say they
process
sleep
here?
an X amount a day per day.
You mean like normal time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So during this time, they sleep a little bit more. They eat X amount of food. This time, they do a little bit more. Right? During hibernation, they eat more.
How can they eat more if there's less food?
Now, less and more is relative to what? What is less and more relative to?
I'm thinking to them.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking of, for example, if a bear eats 5,000 calories a day, I'm thinking if he's eating less, it's going to be 4,000. If it's more, you know what I'm saying? Like I use that. So like what's his regular, and then more or less based on the regular.
So animals, specialty like high intelligent animals, they gather more than we think they do.
Okay.
So they save up, just like a fucking squirrel, right? It's
It's
not super complex. It's
Sure.
They save up a bunch of nuts for the winter and stuff like that. So they do save, right? And when they save, they don't have to exert as much energy.
Right.
So when they save for the few months that's winter or whatever the fuck, they save in a certain spot, spot that they can get to. They save the meat, they save the honey, whatever the fuck they can get their hands on, right?
Okay.
Depending on time of the year, stuff like that. And they don't exert as much energy. Therefore, the ratio of input of calories is higher to
this makes sense. It's like this would be like us. Like if all of a sudden
bulking season,
sure.
cutting season,
okay.
Bro science shit, right? Literally bro science shit.
Yogi the Bear's out there fucking trying to
bulk up for
trying
the
to bulk
fucking
up.
the sexy ladies in the summertime, baby.
Come out.
You know what I'm saying?
I
He
get
wants
you.
to get the traps. He
get
wants
you.
to get the rear delts.
But don't they come out leaner out of hibernation usually?
Well, yeah. So there's a point of diminishing returns with gathering. There's only so much you can gather.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
There's only so much food that's out there that goes bad or whatever. And whether we like to think it or not, animals don't like to eat rotten food, right? Especially bears.
Yeah.
Right? They don't like meat has a certain they don't have
they
refrigerators and shit, right? So it's like it does become scarce near the end, but then again, they're not putting as much energy output, so therefore that they could kind of go past that at a certain point. But initially the idea is that temperatures get colder, you have to exert more energy to move around, so they gather food and try to not make the same distances during the winter time. They could have told me that shit when I was a kid. You think I'm gonna be like, fuck no? Teacher, what the fuck?
I wouldn't say it's a lie, because it's not like shit's bumping in hibernation, so it's not like the opposite. I think personally,
why tell me that? Why not just tell me, hey, listen?
Because it's a simpler way of explaining a similar process. I think, anyways.
There's a level to this, right?
Right.
There's a level to this.
When
I'm 10 years old, hold on.
Yeah, the other thing depends when you were told this.
Yeah,
like, were you told this at 5 or were you told this at fucking 17?
Well, I mean, I think we were told this at 17.
I didn't take biology, so I don't.
It wasn't even biology, man. It was just like fucking like grade 8, 9, 10 science. There was just like regular shit. Like just growing up, that's kind of what people think is like, oh yeah, they go to sleep. It's like, you think a cougar goes to sleep for fucking 4 months? Are you fucking kidding me? A cat? Dude, cats, if you don't feed them like fucking actual meat, like, kibbles or whatever, it has to have actual protein. They go blind.
Yeah.
Cats, if you feed them veggies, they go blind. Right? So it's like, they can only do that for so long. But my point is this. There's a level to lying to kids. There's one thing for a kid to be like 5. He wants to, you can't explain. I mean, I was taught very differently, but there's a reason why I don't believe that how I was brought up is the right way.
Yeah.
A lot of trauma. Not a lot of kids can deal with that trauma. Like,
sure.
When I grew up, when I came to Canada, I knew there was no fucking Santa Claus. I knew these things. There's no fucking Easter Bunny. None of this shit was real. This is fake news. But my peers were way different. They had all these dreams and shit, and I was thinking about like being a fucking doctor at fucking 12 years old. I was like, that's the only way out.
Yeah.
Rap, athletics, or study. That's the only way out. What else? You got family money? I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are your ways out? Deal drugs? Like,
yeah.
You got to gather yourself as a kid, right? So, I think I grew up more of an adult, and I think as a kid, you grew up, if you have more trauma, you grow up not giving a fuck about these.
Trauma will age you, for sure.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So
I agree with that.
There's a reason why, I look older than you. There's a reason why I look older than a lot of people is because
bad genetics.
Maybe, but also maybe the trauma.
I got some skincare routines for you if you want.
I'll pass.
I got some ordinary.
But yeah, there's a level, right? Once I'm fucking 15, 16, 17 years old, there's no need to lie to me about this.
True.
Right? There's a lot of aspects of like schooling that I'm like, man, we don't learn about
Listen,
taxes.
we're going to go back to your old schools. We're going to find your teachers and tell them, listen, Next time you find a kid who's been traumatized, don't lie to him.
Yeah, bro, but fuck all that. Man, it's crazy.
Shout out to our not sponsors.
Yeah, man, Timmy's, come on through, dog.
Honestly, Timmy's, if you guys just like gift cards, we're okay with that. And
Gift cards. Just give us a shout out, bro. Just put a picture of
we'll
me.
shout you out. We'll shout
you out with our
honestly,
3 viewers.
We're doing this.
We're doing this shit for you, son.
And not only that, but like we're doing this once a week, and this is basically, you guys are basically our caterers at this point, except we're paying. We're not getting sponsored catering because the fucking breakfast is Timmy's every week. So come on,
so come on,
help us out.
Unless I get up early, which doesn't happen that often, but it's like 50% of the time I'll do some fucking breakfast cooking for this nigga. But yeah, anyway.
Take a quick break. 2 minutes. Be back.
Last thing I want to go into.
Sure.
Last one thing.
What do you got?
Remember when you were a kid, like 10, 12, summertime?
Barely.
You had really? You don't have that good memory?
I do.
Some people are different.
I have actually. What's interesting with my memory is it's like no, I wouldn't say selective, but it's vivid for certain things, and then for other things it's not. So like at the age of like 5, I'll have, assorted like 10 memories, but like vivid, and then the rest is like don't remember unless someone reminds me. Like, hey, remember when we did that? And I'm like, no, remind me. And then they like tell me like, oh right, that's what we did. But to just think about it, I only have like selected memories to like take.
Right.
But anyways,
yeah.
What was it?
So, summertime when you were a kid, summers felt like forever.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
When you grow up, I don't want to break anybody's dream, but there's no summers no more. Right? There's no time off.
You're talking about relative here. Time is relative.
Right? Time is super relative. So when you put in the aspect of how many things you have to do if you're living by yourself as an adult, things you have to do on a daily basis,
100%.
Responsibilities, this and this, you realize time is super fragile and super life is just minuscule. Like you think you have so much time, then you realize
in some ways you do, and in some ways you don't at all.
You really don't, though. You really don't. Unless you have this is what I'm saying. Unless you have something to escape the taxation, you really don't.
What I meant by sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, because I think it depends on how you frame it. So let's say if your only goal in life, get a college degree, then you have a lot of time because you have fucking your whole. So fine, you have a lot of time. But if all of a sudden now you reframe that and you're like, oh, I want to get a college degree before I have a family. Well then, okay, that scale is now this. So now you don't have a lot of time. Because now
that's my point. Yeah.
So there's two interesting parts about this whole time is relative thing. One was I had it wasn't even that special, like the wisdom wise, but I had a very interesting piece of advice given to me by an English teacher in high school. And she was like, time is relative, but think about why. It's like when you were 6, what is 1 year for you when you're 6? That's 1/6 of your entire life. That's going to feel like a long fucking time. When you're 80, what's 1 year? That's in 1/80th of your whole life. So that's like this. So she's like, as you get older, those same time frames you had for you when you were younger, they will feel less, because they are less and less of your life. So it's going to feel like it goes by faster.
Not only that, but you also, people tend to get too many hobbies. People tend to have too many friends. People tend to spend too much time on bullshit.
These are actually good things, though. And the only reason I say this is because, and I actually did try this for myself to prove it for myself. And I saw that, for me anyways, it's true. But there was a book that I read that a friend gave to me called Moonwalking with Einstein. Okay. And it's about this journalist who finds out that there's such a thing as a world memory championship every year. There's a championship where guys will get together and they will
give me two good hits. Take that in, please. For fuck's sakes, take that in.
Always in.
I don't know, but always. Take that into, please. For fuck's sakes, take that in. Fuck, finally.
All right, so there's world memory championships that happen every year where guys will get together and you have deck of cards, read them out, whatever. Like, so that happened. So this journalist decided, okay, I'm going to write about them, but if I'm going to write about them, I want to also study them and maybe do this myself, like actually enter the memory championships. And so when he started doing that, he started interviewing like past champions, current champions, coaches, all this shit about.
Right.
Basically, the premise of the book is what strategies exist right now and have existed in the past to increase memory as much as possible. And there's a whole bunch of shit, so I'm not going to get into that. But one specific part of the book that really I still remember now on the topic of memory was the question was, do you believe that you were better off doing less things or more things in terms of how time will feel? Like, if you do more things in a year or you do less things in a year, will that year appear shorter or longer? Will you remember more of the year? Like, will you remember more of the year because there were less things? Or are you gonna forget because you did so many things that it gets lost? So what people actually found, because a couple of guys tried this, what do you think the answer is actually? If you wanted to remember a year, do you think you're better off doing more things or less things?
I think it depends on the person.
No,
I really want to go into this after what you have to say, but I'm really interested in what you got to say.
But what do you think it is, though?
I think if you do more things, the year might seem like if you're sober. Now I'll go into that.
We'll assume fully sober for this thing.
Fully sober. I think if you do more things, it seems like it's more. You did more,
and you can remember more.
I don't know. That's interesting because memory, man, it has to be a fine tune. I don't think memory is high or low is better. I think there's a fine medium for memory. I think there has to be a level of things you did and things you can remember. If you do too many things, you might not remember. Like Rogan. Okay, Rogan is one of the busiest dudes in the world.
Yeah.
For the amount of things he does, the amount of people he meets, he might not remember everything. There's just a limit on the brain, right? But then there's like guys that just do nothing all day, right? And they might forget that because every day is the same. So there's a fine line between these two kind of characters where it might be the best.
So then how do you feel between these two situations? How do you feel that time is going to feel?
Time's going to feel slow. I think time would feel fast for both. Time would feel medium for that one guy.
You said fast for both?
I think fast for both. This is why, because I've been both.
So this is what.
Not that I've been Rogan, but I've lived a good 5 years of my life where I've done a lot.
Most people have tried both. So everyone's gonna have opinions for it, but this is what they actually found. So you're actually right. What they found was that, and the experiment was there are a couple of, I don't remember if they're psychiatrists or like memory doctors, like scientists or whatever, but the experiment was it was a controlled situation where. It was a team, and one of the team members was like, okay, I'll be the fucking guinea pig. They stuck him in a cave, a literal cave, for 15 days.
Jesus. 15 is not that bad.
It might have been longer. Dude, any way you cut this, that's fucked. Think about a cave. It's worse than prison in some ways. No light. No nothing.
There's no light inside.
Literally, no light. There's literally nothing there happening.
Does he eat?
No, everything was given to him to survive.
So how does he shit?
It was all arranged, but the idea here is they're trying to create a situation where you can
an environment
where you completely isolate every distraction, so you could truly see on the on the extreme, of not doing shit. How's that going to affect your memory? How's that going to affect your perception of time, etc., etc.
Okay.
What they found is that in that situation, because they timed it, they're like, okay, we're gonna start you, and we're gonna keep track of time outside, and you're gonna keep track of time inside for yourself.
But you're not gonna know the real time.
No, until you come out.
All right, this is interesting.
He fucked up by 40% on the downside.
So what did he think?
He thought it was like 15 days. It was like 30, 45 days that had actually passed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude.
I have such a fucking point on this. It's such an interesting topic. Because
here's the other one. And very few people ever go through a situation because no matter where you are, hopefully, I don't know what prison solitary is like, but...
I want to bring up prison and read for this.
No matter where you are, you will at least have a sense of day and night. That's huge. Knowing that the sun comes up and sun comes down is a good indication for how many fucking days have passed and time.
For sure.
So even if you don't care about days, you're like, oh, the sun went up a few times at least. In the cave, you don't have. If you have no reference for that, that is a problem because now days is now just a concept for you. It's not a thing.
that you see.
It's not something you're not measuring time in days anymore. Time is now basically a feeling. So when you come back to it, like, how many days have passed? You're like, fuck. You probably try writing it down when you're on the inside. But if you have no reference for shit, and if you're not doing anything, right?
If you're not counting, you don't know.
So exactly. So what they found is he grossly underestimated time.
Wow, that's interesting.
And his memory was also shit because nothing happened.
Right.
So the conclusion was, and then they did the opposite, where you're like, okay, regular environment, try and do as much as you can. Like, try and do not just, now here's the interesting part, not just as much as you can, but different shit, crazy shit you would never do. Try and just do the most for like this set amount of time. And so what they found after that, obviously time, because he could fucking measure time, so that there was no problems there. His memory went up crazy. And here's the thing. What they found, and because some of these things have been discovered, and some of them have just been tested against like memory strategies.
Okay.
So there's something that they use for memory called the memory palace. Mm-hmm. Basically what it is, it's you create a visual map for yourself in your head to memorize certain things. So that's what they call the memory palace, because it's visual.
In what context though? Like life?
So how, like this. So one of the strategies is you take if you wanted to memorize a 52 card deck.
Okay.
What you would do is in a memory palace, you start creating very fucked up. And the reason you say fucked up is you want something vivid, like extremely vivid. So some of the situations are like, we might get demonetized on Facebook for this, but it's like a clown dressed up as an alien fucking a girl upside down with her leg off. Shit like that. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine that visually, and that's like a fucked up image. You're going to remember that. So what they do is, as they're going through the deck, they're like, that visual, that's the ace of diamonds. And then they keep going. But the reason it's called memory palace is because you're making this as visual as possible. So a lot of these guys travel all the time because they need more visual references for their palace. So what they'll do is they'll go to a mansion. Or right. the one that they use for beginners is, they're like, your childhood home, like where you grew up, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can picture it in your head. Mm-hmm. That's what they start off with. So they're like, okay, picture your childhood living situation.
Childhood homes.
But just picture the one you can remember any day. Like
any of them.
Okay.
But anyway.
So no, you are in a better case because now you have more. Most people only have the house, and then they have to develop other ones for themselves as they practice this. But you're great because you had like 5, 6. I don't know how many you have.
15.
Doesn't matter. But you have more. I only have 2 that I could use right now.
You
right?
had a great life.
So they're like, okay, picture that and start going through the rooms and start using this strategy. So like, imagine something in your bedroom. Yeah. Imagine something in your parents' room. Like, and that's how you remember. So that's how they associate these things. So now,
like, tags part of the memory.
You're basically visually tagging,
and then you kind of layer this with the thing that you want to.
Exactly, because then as they're going through the deck, it's a shuffled deck.
Okay.
But then they're not memorizing 5 diamonds, because if you do that in your head, you're just placing cards in an imaginary. If you're visual, right, you're just gonna place the cards in your head. That doesn't work. You're gonna forget. Yeah, and the order, you're just gonna fuck it up. But what they do is, as they find it, they're like, 5 diamonds. Oh, that's the Joker with the asshole up his face.
Okay, right.
And then the next one, and then the next one.
They make it specific so they can remember.
Exactly. So that's the test. But the idea with doing as much as you can all the time is because if you create new situations for yourself constantly, you will be able to remember those. And then at that point, time feels greater. You're appreciating time more. You're inserting more events in each day.
Now this is when you're sober.
Well, of course. These guys were not testing Ella's. These are like straight up things that if you want it to just better.
Nothing's warped.
If you just want it to better your memory as much as you can, as cleanly as you can, what would you do?
1-to-1 ratio,
I guess. No, but this is maximizing memory. That's the idea.
No, but I mean, like, you're not fucking, doing like hallucinogenic.
No, not at all. No,
doing this,
no.
Right? There's.
And these strategies have come from like hundreds of years ago. Like think about it now. Like we have computers, tools. We have tools they can use for our memory.
Yeah, how do they do it in like Egypt time?
They literally had a guy who was the memory guy.
Keeping track.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, the idea is if you want to stretch time for yourself in real life.
This goes back to our conversation of Jesus, right?
How
we don't know how we don't know when he was.
Nice try.
See how inaccurate they kept fucking history there?
Stack as much things as you can in your life. As frequently as you can. But that doesn't mean read the same book every day. Because, I did something. No. Read a book. Go skydiving. Go hiking with friends. Go go to that bar, see that girl that you didn't, all this, do as much as you can.
Why are you bringing up old shit?
But make them like unique for yourself. Make them unique and memorable, and do as many as you can. And you will find that at the end of it all, you will remember more things because they were more extreme.
Yeah.
And you will find that you've lived a longer life.
Okay.
So when I read that, I found that very interesting. And I decided to try and apply it for myself, right? I'm like, is this true or not? I mean, I don't have the resources to do it like that fucking stacked.
Yeah.
But the general idea of just doing more and learning new things and just trying things you would never try before has been an improvement on my life for sure, because I can remember now. They're like, oh yeah, when I did that thing. So then I remember what day it was. And then, so then all of a sudden I have a better sense of time. But, and this was interesting because in times of Corona, especially last year, where we were doing dick all.
We're still doing dick all.
There's no, we're doing this.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying,
but
as a people, like we're still in the same
I'm talking person. This is
okay,
all
right,
person. We're
it's
talking
all
about
subjective.
we're talking about like time relative to the person.
To you,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So in times of Corona, I did personally, like very little. So all of a sudden those months start blending because where's the reference? If I go from September to November and all I did was the same shit every day, where's my reference? For me, I don't know if it felt like 30 days or a month or whatever, versus if I did something every day, saw a new person every day, did all these things, and all of a sudden I have a better reference for memory and for time overall.
That's a really interesting topic, man. I think you could talk about that shit for
a long time,
hours, because it's time is something we haven't fully discovered.
Of course,
time is it's warped, yet it's not in our control, and nothing of it is in our control, and that's an old saying that we go by, because we're still trying to, let's be honest, as smart as we are, the technology we have is only relative to how useful it is. We have no technology that accesses time, and that just shows how much of a deficit we're in as far as like improvements that we can still make in life. Biology, people are saying biology is coming up as far as trying to help people stay healthier for longer and life expectancy and stuff, but even biology has a certain limit to it, right? It's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to go 3,000 years unless you're a fucking robot. Like there has to be certain amounts of things that they have to constantly change, like a car, but yeah, going back to what you had to say with the time, it's interesting because
what is the prison thing you were gonna mention?
So two things. Time, I think not everybody can be sober.
Sure.
Right? In what you're saying as far as the imprisonment stuff, I think would only work in short term. Long term, it's unless something emotional happened. If you don't have the emotional aspect of something, it's hard for you to remember, because every memory you have is linked to an emotion of that time. And when you say like, okay, remember a card on a thing with a, you're linking it to an emotion, but that emotion that you're linking it to is self-created versus an actual event. An event probably.
I actually don't think that's how they identified memory.
But that's from what I understood. Maybe I'm wrong with how I understood it, but I'm just that it doesn't matter.
It might be actually. It might be emotions.
I feel when I've done both, and I know you've done both. Obviously when you were a kid, you weren't fucking looking up facts like the way you are. You're fucking thesaurus, my friend. But with weed and with prison are two things that warp time.
For sure.
Like, I think the scariest one is weed. I think the scariest one is weed, because I went to a party, like a university party. Yeah. And some girl was giving out cookies.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, not cookies, brownies.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was when I was 18, 19, and at the time, I'm not smoking weed, man. I'm straight up not smoking.
You're just hucking these brownies.
I'm doing some illegal, aggressive, fucking alpha, stupid shit, meathead shit, but I'm not actually smoking weed. I'm not doing drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It just wasn't my thing, and I had no tolerance to it. So this girl gave me brownies and shit, and I didn't have time to eat that day. I just showed up, I had to drive my buddy. We both went, and I was like, fuck, why not, man? Let me grab these fucking brownies. Yeah. Dog. I went in, started talking to some girl. We're like in a group. And then, you know how like you always have that, like somebody says a joke, people laugh, and you always have that one kid like, ha 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 ha.
Oh, because he didn't know when to laugh?
Back. Bro, I was so out of tune with what's going on.
Jeez.
Eventually, I got tunnel visioned.
Yeah.
The awkwardness hit first. You get tunnel visioned. And then, for the amount of time that you are high, time will be
Fucked.
so long between seconds. Bro,
For sure.
I got so bad. I was on my knees. I was shaking.
I remember greeting out. Yeah.
Puking. Fucking.
Jesus.
They called the ambulance. The chick came. She said, it's the first time. It's my first day. I just graduated. I'm a paramedic. I'm so glad that you're my first person.
What the fuck?
This is like some young 22-year-old chick.
Yeah.
I'm like if I saw this chick at a party, I'll probably hit on her. You know, that kind of thing.
Sure.
She's that young, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah. So she's like in my age group.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you
okay,
think a paramedic, you'd be like, okay, 30 years old.
Yeah.
When you're 18 years
Yeah,
old,
yeah,
you don't have the balls to go up to a 30-year-old and start.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of relation. So I'm like, I'm about to puke on you.
Jesus.
And she's like, oh, let me grab you a bag. As she's grabbing the bag, I just go fucking horizontal vomit straight, bro. I hit her chest. I gave her a nice chest piece of puke, son.
Disgusting.
Anyway, long story short, when I was waiting for the
ambulance,
I was on the phone because they wouldn't let me get off the phone.
Yeah.
And this just goes to willpower, because I know a lot of people at that time, they wouldn't be able to pick up a fucking phone. They would just get so dazzled.
Yeah.
Because your heart, they checked my heart rate. I was at 225 beats a minute.
Like a fucking hummingbird, man.
Bro, I was like, there was like a period. She hit me with like 2 points. She's like 207, 204.
Yeah.
And then it was like 225 or 220 or something. She checked my heart rate, and I was at that rate.
Jesus.
So every second was like, they're like telling me like, oh, it's going to be like 11 minutes.
Yeah.
For them to come. Dog, it felt like days. It felt like
That's fucked up.
days.
That's fucked
It
up.
felt like so long.
And I understand what you're saying. I just never had it that bad, but I do understand that.
And, you know, there's also the embarrassment aspect of it.
Of course.
Right? And people think that you don't. You're going along with the pain of like your heart about to explode, and the fact that there's all these people looking at you while this is happening.
Yeah.
People are throwing water and ice. They're trying to help you out and shit. And you're like middle of night. You're like fucking embarrassed like a motherfucker, puking and shit. The other thing is, you know, that was just that whole thing was maybe 50 minutes altogether.
Yeah.
It felt like a couple days, maybe a week.
Christ.
Right? And afterwards, it was 3 days before I stopped like dazing. Have you ever seen like heroin dudes daze?
No.
Like when you do heroin, right? I'm telling this as I've seen people like do this.
Yeah.
They go on a daze, right?
Yeah.
They start. It's called nodding. They start.
Yeah.
And then you'll just see them like bent over like this on Hastings. They're just bent over like this, looking at the floor.
Yeah.
They're just completely heroined out. They're like euphoric.
Fuck.
Right? They're like constantly fucking busting nuts. They're not that they're actually busting nuts,
I know,
but they're
I
so
get you.
euphoric.
Yeah. What do they get pumped with? Serotonin at that point? What is your body? Oh, dopamine? Dopamine, yeah.
Dopamine just goes out.
Through the roof, yeah.
Through the roof.
Yeah.
And then there's aspects of the actual chemical that causes like fucking, you know, physical differences.
Yeah, sure.
Teeth,
Yeah. So
that, and then prison, the other thing
tell me about
the
prison aspect for
going
the time.
going to what you said with daytime. So
Daytime.
we didn't have any any windows. We had lights on
but
all the time.
You had yard time though, right?
In county, not in federal. Federal is 24 hours.
No windows
up.
in federal?
No windows in federal.
So was there no reference for day at all?
No, because we're in a middle unit. We don't have. You have to understand. If it's like this, if it's a fucking.
Yeah.
You're in the middle unit. There's no windows out in.
Right.
There's nothing.
So just artificial light. Like the literal lights.
It's just literal lights.
No, that's what I'm saying. Artificial light.
So
like,
you don't know. And when you go to SEG, you don't even have the artificial.
Yeah, no,
light.
that's why I was like, I'm pretty sure Solitaire is like the cave
You go
one.
2 weeks in SEG, you think you were there for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea. Prison in itself, just because you're having a bad time, it just feels like longer. Like I was only there for like 127 days. When you say that to someone, it's like, oh, that's a fucking joke, bro.
Yeah.
127 days, suck my dick. That's nothing. 127 days feels like a year, especially when you don't know when you're gonna get out.
Sure.
That's another aspect of it. You don't know when it's gonna end. for this person, like they're okay, 15 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. If you keep track, you kind of have an idea of how long, right? But if you're like, okay, it's up to judging. Okay, you go three court dates. They're like 2 months,
Yeah.
a month and a half in
Yeah,
between. You have no recollection of like what time is at that point. You know what I mean? Because you have no pace for it.
Yeah.
That's another aspect that's super fucking crazy, where you have no pace for it. You have no pace. Mushrooms, same thing. All the hallucinogenic. If you hit a bad trip,
Yeah, that's a whole other world.
Bad
though.
trip?
No, I mean, like just the drugs
Oh
in
my
general for
God.
what it does to, because there are chemical things happening in your brain when you are on drugs. So that'll change fucking who knows like how many things in your brain and how it like perceives your fucking surroundings, which is crazy.
it's insane. And one more thing with time, as much as we do, as much as we think we do, as much as we want to achieve,
Yeah,
I think it's important to understand as a young man that if you see something, you see a nice piece, you see something, right? And you want it, you really have no time. And
Yeah,
you really
yeah.
have nothing to lose. So if you see something, you see a vision, you see a girl, whatever it may be,
yeah,
literally fuck that thing and just get it done.
just get it.
Either you get it or you don't. But if you keep going with life and you never do anything about it, then you never know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah,
At least if you get a no, it's kind of like eventually with time, you're gonna be okay with with what happened.
yeah,
No matter what happens.
yeah.
Even if you're in prison for 200 years, eventually you're gonna accept it.
What you just mentioned goes in part with that whole try and create as many dynamic memories as you can for yourself,
Yeah.
because that will only help you with that. You will remember these moments.
Only
Yeah.
you will only and you'll get some answers, man. You won't have any questions.
Oh
'Cause-
yeah, there's so many benefits to it, but just for the memory thing, you will
Yeah.
remember these moments.
And another product of this is those questions, more often than not, turn to insecurities.
True. Yeah. They manifest themselves in a bad way.
And it's just within your mind. You just constantly
for
think
sure.
about it. You constantly do stuff, and that's not healthy, man. You got to step away from that. You got to bust the nuts. You got to do something. Even in Corona, man, you got to bust nuts.
Yeah.
Like girls, boys, whatever. If they both want it, just bust nuts now, man. If you just see a dude, just start sucking his dick. If you see a girl, just let her know, hey, listen, you can sit on my face if you want. If you don't, it's okay too.
Sure.
But I'm just letting you know, if you thought about it, now you can, right? Now you
Love
can
that.
do it,
Love
right? And I think with that, we're gonna go, right?
Yeah. We'll wrap
The
it.
day, wrap it. Any last thoughts, man?
No, I think this is the good one, man. I think we learned some things
I think
about
we
what we.
definitely learned some shit about fucking hibernation,
Yeah.
God
I know.
damn.
I'm educated on this shit now. Fuck, man.
bro. Man.
I got to start watching BBC Earth more with my dad. I bet you if he was here, he'd fucking tell us all about it.
Something about those English accents just make it sound so interesting, huh?
Amazing, man.
Beautiful. Just again going back to that shit, man. Like, fuck that bitch, man. Ask her out, maybe tongue her fucking, whatever the fuck, tongue her asshole. See what happens,
We're gonna leave on that one. Tongue or asshole. That's gonna be the
title, man.
that's
That's
the title of the
what it is.
episode.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Peace.